Hello there, third graders. Miss Hess here in the library. Have some more poetry for you today. So it's still April and National Poetry Month, and your teachers tell me that you're also working on a new unit in literacy about weather and climate. So I found a poetry book that combines both of those topics. So we have weather in poetry form. So just perfect for National Poetry Month. So hope you enjoy this book. It is called Seed Sower, Hat Thrower, Poems About Weather by Laura Perdue Salas. And this comes from my nonfiction section. The 800s is where we have a lot of literature books. So it's like, I would say, good 10 shelves of poetry in that section of nonfiction. Okay, so poems about weather, and the first topic is fog. It's called I Am Fog. I gulp headlights. Blanket bridges seep under your skin until slices of sun sizzle me away. Okay? And the important thing about poetry, I'm going to get a close-up of that, is that you read one line at a time and you pause after each line. You don't read poetry like you would regular text, like a regular paragraph, because it doesn't sound right. You have to just read it as it's written, one line at a time, and that's what gives poetry so much magical power with the sound of it. It's really fun to see what poets do with their poems by how they lay out their words. Okay, so that was I Am Fog. I'm going to skip a couple here. All right, this next one is called Oh! It rained a few minutes ago, then winter took over the show. The temperature dropped, the raining soon stopped, and the droplets switched quickly to snow. Yes, and we know that happens when the temperature hits the freezing point, right? 32 degrees Fahrenheit. If it was raining, it will turn to snow. Okay, that was O. And this one here is called Softer. Through a window pane, streaked with sliding rain, outside world has changed. Blurry velvet stain. Every house and car, soft where edges are. Water painting sky makes each light a star. Beautiful, right? And then on the other side is called Dark and Light. Storm, raindrops misty, falling, gathering, hanging. Clouds, fading, sunlight, appearing, bouncing, reflecting, arcing. Sparkle colors, rainbow. That one's really nice. No rhyming in that one, right? Poetry does not have to rhyme. It often does, but in a lot of cases, it doesn't. All right, and this one is called Winter Blooms. Branches, blooming with ice, paint a shocking picture of frosty white trees on winter's blue sky. Ooh, I love that last line, just blue sky. And it's really interesting to be the writer of poetry because you get to decide how many words you want on a line. And you can see that lines of poetry are not like typical writing. There's very few punctuation rules, capitalization rules. Just, there is not one bit of punctuation in that poem, or one bit of capitalization. That's kind of fun, right? Okay, this one is called Wind is an Expert Blower, Seed Sower, Sailboat Goer, Hat Thrower, and best of all, a kite tower. Okay, let's see, I'm skipping this one. This is a short little one called Bolt. Silver flash dances from sky to earth in one leap, electrifying. Cool, right? This one is called Wild Wind. Rushing wind, roaring wind, whirling, twirling, warring wind, ripping wind, whipping wind, please release your gripping wind, nearing wind, clearing wind, finally, disappearing wind. And boy, if you've ever been in the vicinity of a tornado, when it disappears, that is a very relieving thing, because it's very scary to be that close to a tornado, right? And did you hear how I changed my voice? So you can use all kinds of interpretation as the reader. So for me, when I looked at this, when I'm reading about a tornado, I don't want to sound like boring, right? I don't want to read it like rushing wind, roaring wind, whirling, twirling, warring wind. I gotta make it exciting. Rushing wind, roaring wind. You, as the reader of poetry, can make it as exciting as you want to. Okay, and this one is called Clouds. Vanilla cotton candy, pillows meant for kings, fluffy bunny rabbits, enormous seagull wings. I check the sky at recess to see what each day brings. I never dreamed that clouds could make so many different things. I love to listen to poetry with my eyes closed. But if I'm the reader of the poetry and I close my eyes, then we'll just have a very silent session here, won't we? So I can't do that right now. But I sure do love to listen to other people read poetry. I hope you're enjoying this too. Okay, now this poem, I'm going to put it close up. I know that you've done this type of poetry in elementary school before. It's called an acrostic poem. An acrostic poem style is when you write a word down. So this word here, and you can tell because the font colors are the first letter in each word are the same color as the title, right? That word says icicle. And then you have to write a line that begins with that letter for each letter. So icicle, it says icy, cold, icy, clear, lonely, elm trees, frozen, tear. And I know that you've done that type of poem before in school. Acrostic poems are very popular in elementary school. All right, and this is our last one for today. It's called Ice Riders, and you can see visually how interesting that poem looks because of the way the words flow, right? Just like the shapes on the ice. So, Ice Riders, striding, colliding, new ice gliding, skating a glossy frozen lake, guiding, sliding, silver blade riding, look at the lines and shapes we make. All right, so that was your little poetry session for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, when you go to Mac and Via and sign in, if you go under ebooks, in the search bar up top, because there's over 7,000 books in there now, lots of good books. So in that search bar, you can just type in poetry if you were a fan of poetry. And I believe there were 102 hits for poetry in there. So if you are enjoying poetry, you could go into Mac and Via and read some more on your own and practice reading it out loud. You can grab your family members, read them some poetry in honor of National Poetry Month. So I hope you all are doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye, third graders.